Hello everyone. I hope you guys are having a great day. So for today's video, we are going to be continuing the series of learning and exploring openings where I will be playing an opening that I do not know. So I think last video we probably played against a cheater, um but I think we're still going to play like a couple more games for the London before we officially switch to E4. Because once we switch to e4, there's a lot of things that will happen. So d4, e6, which will have 4. This is a new sort of line here. Okay. Um, e3. I just have to keep in mind that this is not really a thing. So c3. Let's play h3 here, because why not? Now we play knight f3, and we should be fine. Knight bd7, bishop to d3. Yeah, and now I did play bishop d6. Purely just the idea of trying to. I guess I should have played knight bd2 first, because now I have to trade all the bishop off anyways. Um, c5. Well, c5 is a blunder actually. c5 is a blunder because we can take on f7. So yeah, we're just gonna do that. Seems like a lot of our opponent is having low connection for some reason. So it's just a standard tactic. This is a problem when playing bishop d6 and then you play c5 is because you just undefend your bishop for no reason. And also the thing is whenever you play bishop d6, your knight should be on c6 more here, especially when there's a bishop on f4. Just eyeing on this. Okay, we're just going to take this. Okay. Queen takes. We could trap the queen theoretically. The only question is, do we want to? We are up a piece right now, so I think either move order works of queen c2 or castle first, but I think queen c2 just forced this. Um, because actually I don't like knight d2 giving up the c3 pawn. So I think I'm going to play queen c2. If our opponent takes the rook, then I'm just going to trap it. And you should only do this if you're up a piece, right? Like, yeah. So six. This castle. And also the thing is, like, we're not in a hurry to take this because this bishop is not going anywhere. So you're not really afraid of like all the traps and stuff. Okay, C. And actually, luckily, since the knight is also here, actually, we're also preventing knight e4. This actually wouldn't work if there's knight e4 available. I mean, knight e4 we can just kick it with f3, obviously, but yeah, bishop to e2. I mean, now with bishop e2, there's no knight h5 anymore, which is another plus thing. So knight e4, that doesn't matter. That's just a bad move because now the pawn structure is ruined and we're just going to grab 3 pawns. Let's grab all the pawns that we need. In fact, we don't even have to play knight d2 right now. Funny enough. Because actually what happens here if I play knight d2 after queen takes and maybe knight takes, actually maybe bishop takes, our opponent can play e5. b5, not e5. And what happens is now the c4 pawn is suddenly protected for no reason, right? But then we have to calculate a little bit. So if we take on c4, there's knight b6. But the thing is, knight b6, I don't think does anything. There's knight d5, so it's annoying, per se. Actually, bishop c4, knight b6, we just play knight d2 anyway, right? Yeah. Well, actually, hold up. If knight d2, queen takes f1, bishop takes f1, if b5, we just take on e4 with the queen, and now we are forking this. Okay, I'm just gonna go for it. Takes on f1. We take with the bishop because they always have this. Okay, and again, if our opponent decided to protect it with a knight, then we just take this, and it's still attacked twice. So it technically is not a protection by any means. And now, if knight h5, since there's no pawn on nothing that can attack in e5, we're just gonna play bishop e5, and our bishop is very good. It's just controlling, basically, like the most important squares in black's position. And this is the thing, the good thing about the bishop in the London system. That's what we call this, the London bishop. And but also by playing bishop e5, we are controlling the development of this bishop. Not like the pawn can't move, because it's being pinned, but if you just put it here, you don't have to care about it in the future. So yeah, okay. So b6 is actually another blunder because you see the rook is sort of trapped. I mean, it's not like a blunder because there's bishop d7. But still, I think I don't like that move that much. Queen takes e4, just begging to be played. So I don't see a reason why we play b6. We just play bishop d7 anyways. So now, we can just play this bishop d3, and I think if g6 here, which is most likely going to happen. Yep. What can we do? So we can keep the battery and play knight f3, because our knight is currently not very happy. Our knight is questioning right now. It's happy being a defensive piece, but our attack is so strong, so why not add another piece? But another thing we can do is we can move the queen to h4. And the reason for that is I want to kind of kick this knight out and keep an eye on h7. But then I'm looking, and there's actually another idea that I like, which is knight f3 into knight g5 and takes on h7. If I can take on h7, without the knight being able to do anything, I think the game is pretty essentially over. Again, this bishop is so bad. that it's gonna take so long to be able to do whatever. So we are going to play knight to f3. And again, h6 is not available. And yeah, so bishop c6 is going to happen on the next move. So we just play knight to h5. And the bishop c6 now, attacking our queen, we just moved the queen to h4 as we intended. And notice that, sure, we don't have the battery ram on this diagonal anymore, but a lot of pieces on black's position is hanging. Rook takes c3. Okay. That was a very greedy move by our opponent. So we are let's calculate a little bit, right? This is definitely not like a fancy sacrifice because it's rather straightforward when you have everything attack and all you have to do is just a finishing blow. And you want to calculate this. So knight takes h7. If rook takes d3, queen takes g6 is checkmate, so we don't have to think about that. If king takes knight, then queen takes is also checkmate. Now, the only other thing I was concerned about is king f7. But king f7, well, we just take on g6, king takes here, and we take the rook, and everything, and we just win because everything is hanging. So, and if rook c1 check, which I should have also said consider it before I try to say anything, nothing happens because this is why we have a bishop on this diagonal, because nothing will be in danger. And this game is essentially over. The rook can't go here because we just take. Bishop e8 is probably the best defense, if I have to be honest. But then again, we just take the rook. And we don't really care. So bishop f8. This is probably the only move that doesn't lead to, immediate mate. So maybe I might want to calculate a little bit. Bishop e8, knight takes rook, king takes knight, queen to f3 check. And if king g8, we have. Actually, let's calculate king e7. If king e7 first, g4 traps the knight, first of all. And if king g8, then after g4, knight g7, we have queen f6. Okay, and yeah, our opponent just think for too long and going for rook f2 anyways, and this is just checkmate in one move. Yep, and very nice game from our end. So, this game is already analyzed. I mean, it seems like we're cheating, but, well, we are not because our opponent just blundered for kind of no reason. Yeah. I mean, what is queen b6? And it's funny because queen c2 is as good. Again, this rook is a trap. This rook is not really capturable because you just lose the queen. So queen c2 or castle is equivalent, or even queen d2 is slightly better, whichever, right? It's just equivalent. It's just equally good. And again, as I said, I don't like knight d2 because after queen takes, it's a little bit annoying, of course, you're still up a full piece, but essentially, black just gained. Well, black has only have a pawn because we also capture a pawn over here. But then our center just gets ruined. And why are we doing that, by the way? Because actually here, queen c2 is... Oh, you can't go queen c2. My bad. Okay. Yep. And here, yeah, I was going to go rook c1, and I didn't even look at queen takes d3, which kind of shows, right? So here, bishop e2, c takes e4. here, I guess queen b4 a move. Yeah, it's a move. And you see here, like you don't want to take because taking here is not that good. Um, and here, sure, it's a +4 position, but look at what we just did. Like by allowing capture, we just give black the whole center. And why do we have to do that when we literally don't have to? And you have to be able to see. This is a very actually in another trap in the London system. I will show you really quick. It actually is in our last video, similar enough, what we were trying to do in this line. So e3, knight c6, c3, knight f6. And let's just say knight f3 happens, right? Queen b6, queen c2, bishop f5. And actually, wait. I think it's similar. Wait, okay. So here we takes. This is a mistake. So, but notice that if here, okay, here's the trap. So here bishop e2 and you take this, you're actually losing. Why? Because queen c2, and you're essentially setting up the same trap where where the queen doesn't have anywhere to go. So you have to go c4 here. Or you could go, yeah, and I guess actually e6 is fine as well. I would go e6 actually. Queen d3, c4, queen d2 takes, and here castle. And the difference here is that you have knight e4. And why is that essential? Because with this, white cannot move the knight because we are attacking on c. We have two pieces attacking c3. So let's say you play like it's saying bishop a3. Let's just say you play this, right? You're trying to play queen b2, and if white takes, we just take this. And if you look at this position, sure, white has two pieces for the rook and two pawns, but our pawn structure is very nice, right? We have a pass pawn, and our queenside pawn is just superior. So, and white can't actually really take this because, I mean, take here, and this is kind of a disaster. This knight is very sad, right? And you can, and again, you can just castle, and this old bishop is even sadder because it doesn't have anywhere to go. So knight d2 and then knight a2. Like, I mean, you can't go knight b5 first of all. Yeah, and this position, black is just better position only. Material is actually better for black. Black is up a pawn. So yeah, this is the trout I was talking about. But again, you have to know because here again, yeah. So why is this a tempo too late? So c4. What happens here? There's see, here doesn't work because you're tempo too late. Crazy, right? That's what it is. And you take this, well, now again, you lost a piece. So then white is just better. And there's nothing you can really do. So remember that. Yeah, you have to force queen d2 basically, which is the only way. And this is a common trap in the London, but the thing is, like, if black doesn't know enough, and white just play normally, then black can actually fall into digging his own grave. So yeah, takes here, and you just up a queen piece and a pawn. Get back to pawn. We see two again. It's the queen e2 is also good here. The reason it's good here is because there's no dark square bishop, so you are allowed to play knight to a3. Why go into all of that? Bishop here, and again, there's also none of knight e4 stuff, so we're not really afraid about that. But let's say knight e4 happens. Let's just pretend we don't have a knight there, right? Queen c2, and let's say what does black do here? Like you can actually just trap the queen, like literally trap it. You don't even have to trade it. But let's say a move like knight here. You actually can't play knight a3 still because again, queen takes c3, and suddenly and sure this is not as bad because at least you can move this. You move the bishop to f3, but now you're down in exchange. You're not down. You're not giving two pieces anymore. So yeah, keep that in mind. And here it's just an easy conversion. So again, we go skip through all of this. Knight e4. It's such a desperate try from our opponent. So knight takes e4, pawn takes e4, and now you look at this. This is the classic pattern of not only caring about like the pawn structure, but I think our opponent unintentionally did that because our opponent didn't think of like the next moves. Because what knight e4 do is that sure I cannot play knight e3, but they didn't see this at all. And if this is ruined, then yeah, this is just over. And here, yeah, again, anything is just good, so we're not gonna bother to go too much deeper in about that. So again, b5, we take on e4, and we have a double attack. Knight b6 is a move. Crazy. You say you can sack this. See crazy that is? Yeah. Man. I would play a4 here actually. B takes a4. I would do what I do knight takes. Yes, I like bishop pair, so I would do knight takes. Knight d5. Yeah, and the game goes on, and I think this is definitely a little bit harder to play, but not too much harder. But yeah, bishop d3. You can't take this because, I mean, do you really want to do that? Like, yeah, no, you wouldn't. So, g6. Yeah, just bishop d6, stopping this, and say rook d8. Just go bishop a3, and you're essentially zoning the king out, and you're potentially creating a mating net. So that yeah, again, this is pretty much over for black. After everything's going on. Queen b7, I mean, that's fine. Again, just executing this idea. Okay, rook f5 is actually the move that I missed here. I was looking at bishop e8. I mean, but both moves are pretty much the same. In here, queen f3. Again, king e8. Queen a8. I mean, I don't really... Oh, I forgot about this. Oh, actually, no. This only works because of this. So here, if king e7, we can go g4, which actually is not the best move. Yeah, crazy. But it's fine. And again, the whole point here is that understanding that this trap thing is gonna happen, and if the London player is able to play knight to e5, right here again, there's no knight h5, and if knight takes here, which is also another thing I want to go over. Oh, knight take is not a move. So bishop takes is not really a move either, because knight e4, and essentially you're giving up the bishop pair for nothing. And the bishop is happy here, you know. Knight e2 just trying to trade the knights off. We can talk about g5, but you really want to go g5? Just bishop h2, man. Yeah. So yeah. Thank you so much for watching. I think this is a very good London game that basically punished what our opponent did, which is like just playing safe against the London system, because the London system, even though it doesn't require you to know much theory, but it's still a very dangerous opening. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you like to see next. I'm still gonna play a couple of London system, and then if I switch to e4, I might start playing, the Kleck system or Italian, and I will try to get into that. See you guys in the next one. Peace.